I'm gonna put a pause to this right now, and I want to talk. I want to get to two main points. I want to talk about skill level, and then I want to talk about my ideal playstyle. I'll talk about my ideal playstyle after I talk about levels. Okay. So let's. How do I do this? I don't use this that often, y'all. I'm sorry. I think I could just like. Can I just like reset this hoe? Chat. How do I do this? Somebody figure this out for me. No, that's safe. Okay. So there are multiple levels to Rocket League. So, and you're probably like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what are you, a retard? Like, what? Huh? No. So, what I mean is, okay, I'm gonna put this all in one video at this point. I'm just a yapper. I'm sorry. I'm a yapper. If you follow me or you watch my shit and you're like, this is boring, I'm sorry. I just like talking about this. This is fun to me. But I want to talk about how levels work. And you're probably gonna be like, what do you mean levels? Well, for as long as Rock League can remember, I think we had a world championship twice a year, funny enough. So I unironically we had no, yeah, we actually no, okay, because the major wasn't really a major. What we did was the world championship was the major that we have currently. So the amount of times that we could see actual growth in players did not exist. So there were so many tournaments going on so fast that we were just like, okay, what, like, how, like, the speed of play just did not look fun to watch. And we kind of just sat here and were just like, oh, this is boring. Like, why are we doing this? And over time, I think around 2029 or 2019, where we said, all right, we're going to switch this to a long string format where it's you're open, and you're open, and then you're major. I mean, you're regional, and then you have the major, and then I think it was three regionals. No, no. So there was three regionals per that region. Okay, then you have your major, and then this repeated. It was three regionals for your region, and then major. Three regionals, major, and then three regionals, and then your world championship. This is our format currently, and in between those is three 2 week spans. So in between these is every 2 weeks there is a new fucking open qualifier that you can do. Then you can qualify for the regional, and then you qualify the regional, and then you qualify the regional. And if you accumulate enough points, you go to the major. And now you do this enough times to get yourself enough points to go to the world championship. And now you get a lot more points for qualifying for majors than you do for winning regionals. So if you win regionals, not regionals, majors more often, you get more than enough to secure your spot in the championship. This is what we fight for. We fight for our chance in the world championship. Now, the problem with this, in my opinion, is it doesn't give the players enough incentive to play. And now you're thinking, what does that mean? Like what? Like where are you going with this? Like we just talked about fucking players rotation styles and shit, and now we're talking about plays a tournament. If any of you who are watching this know CS:GO, like CS:GO and how they do their tournaments, they're all stuck in one format, okay? And if you're a tier 2 team or a tier 3, you work your way up through like these FPL leagues who host their own tournaments. So you push yourself through these tournaments, not these tournaments, these leagues, and then you can join their tournaments, but you push yourself through these leagues, constantly gaining points in those leagues to then qualify for the tournament. And if you win in that tournament, or if you make it pretty decently far, you acquire more points. And that goes towards your HLTV, which goes towards points that could be go toward, to qualify for the next tournament, or you just get invited. So a lot of what happens is you have teams constantly going to tournaments trying to win money. And a lot of these tournaments are really expensive in terms of like prize pool. Some of them, I'm pretty sure the PGL, whatever the fuck it's choose something, was $105,000. and that was for first place. And I think 100. I think RLCS. I think RLCS Boston. Hold on, Boston Major. Let's see how much first place was again. First place won 125, 100, $102,000, and that was for a single major. Now think about doing that shit almost about every month or so. This is like every 4 months. So this is so fuck 4 months. So 4, 8, 12, and then I just elapsed a fucking year and a half. So I think it's every 3.5 months. I think so 3 months, and then there you go. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, okay. Because every world championship is usually in it's either in January, February, or it's in December or earlier. I don't remember. I don't pay attention that often anymore. But for CS:GO, I think it's a tournament every month. It's every month there's a tournament, or at least every 2 months. It's they have more tournaments because they have more leagues, and because of this, we see a lot of people grinding. They grind a lot. It's mostly with teams, and they grind on tournaments. They grind, grind, grind. And that's what makes like CS:GO. They grind these tournaments, constantly trying to win some money. They don't really get like like I earn this per. Like, I don't really get a fucking salary, but they push themselves. They constantly do these tournaments. And granted, they're inside of fucking Europe, and that's where all of CS:GO is. So they travel these tournaments pretty easily. But in terms of tournaments, I'd like for Rocket League to go back to what it was. And that's gonna sound ridiculous because it's like, well, we already that was a singular major and it was $102,000. Which, if that repeats the process, that's like 4K. And then it. My point being is back then we had the rival series where you would push your way up, and the bottom two teams in RLCS would get demoted, etc. So now Rocket League has become more of just this one stop show. There's only one show. That's all you watch. And I was talking with my friend about this. I'm like, I hate Rocket League currently because it's the quality of it doesn't just feel good anymore. Because we're constantly playing and these open qualifiers, like the pro teams are playing with these qualifiers, they're playing against shitters. We should I want to see more international like level playing. I want to see but I want to see these more different levels of play because it's interesting. I really want to see like these two teams from two different regions clash and fight, and I want to see these rosters clash. But here's the thing. Here's where the problem came. Is with CS:GO, is you're seeing a lot of the same people, and you're seeing a lot of the same rosters because there's a roster close, and you can't get rid of your team. But in Rocket League, it's after a major, you can kind of just there's a window. You can That's why we have a term called bubble teams, where if you don't have RLCS points, you don't I don't think if you have RLCS, I don't remember exactly how that works, but if you're on a bubble team, it means you blow up quick, and then you pop just as quick as that. And many of these teams are people who are SSLs or just like top 100 players, or some people that are just want to go pro. But they play on a team with two people, and then they're like, we did really good, but then we're just gonna get rid of the entire roster. And bubble teams pop up everywhere. They don't make a salary. They don't do this. They're nothing. And it's sad because bubble teams, they should be able to just like commit. Like this, you should be a team, not just like, hey, we're gonna play a singular game. Is it raining outside? It is raining outside. That's nice. So like, you can't just play a singular game and then just be like, okay, I don't really like this team. I'm leaving. That's not how this works. And I really want to talk about like G2 for whenever G2 was around. They stuck. They stood with the same exact roster for I think 2 years. It was Daniel Atomic and somebody else at the time. I think it was Chicago. And they stuck with that team forever. And they molded. They did shit, but they would mold back up. They would build. But then eventually they were like, Chicago's done. Beast mode comes in. But this team stood around for so long, but they went through good, they went from bad, that's what makes watching rosters so much more fun. And watching RLCS nowadays isn't fun because it's a different roster every fucking 4 weeks. It's not fun to watch. And this becomes a problem because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to see this roster do good. This roster's going to do great. I'm curious to see where this roster goes. But then 3 weeks later, they break up. And it's like, what the fuck? Are we a boy band in North America? Like, what's happening here? It's just not fun to watch. Now, I'm bringing in like these trade windows in, old leagues because I would like to see leagues again. I want to see leagues. And this is going to be insane, but I think six mans should do their own tournaments. They need to do like actual live tournaments, and it should count towards championship points. We need to start doing this shit again because we have Blast doing our TV. We have Blast doing our show. Okay, they're the one that's hosting the shows. They're the ones hosting the arenas, but our sponsors are the ones that are dishing out the money, the prize pools. And the problem with this is we don't have enough sponsors to keep dishing out these tournaments. And you're like, what do you mean? And let's say we do run this to CS:GO style, where we have 15,000 tournaments going. We have a lot of tournaments going on. You as a community can't supply that. And how do you supply that? Majority of the time, it's with a sponsor. And some of these sponsors aren't actually Epic Games hosted sponsors or Rocket League's hosted sponsor like Progressive or Genji Mobile. So what happens is now we're stuck with this one main series. And I should probably preface why I hate it because we're getting the same plays, we're getting the same players that are constantly showing these shitters who are coming in through qualifiers and then they're disappearing 1 week. That's why Redacted is a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. Same goes for Energy. It's because they have stood around, they are still here, and they're showing up. They're not leaving each other. And that's what I love about them. I mean, I can't even say Redacted anymore. They're Virtus Pro. But let me talk to you the reason why a lot of people are happy with this, especially my friend, is when this got introduced, it gave more leeway for players and regions to diversify themselves. Because back then, what it used to be was there was two major playstyles. Two. And that was it. There was your really hyper aggressive, and then there was your slow down bunker. And during when Rocket League first started, when iBuyPower was around, it was really this aggressive playstyle. And then, so I'm gonna talk about it EU NA. Okay, it was really aggressive NA, and then really defensive EU, and then it was really defensive EU, and it was really aggressive NA, and then it was really aggressive EU, and it just kind of kept going. So the regions switched which playstyle it kind of changed. One was aggressive for like a couple of months, and then one was really defensive a couple of months. They kind of fought each other in terms of playstyle. And in EU, we didn't really see a change because there was no ability to change. It was just this constant, oh, this one's defensive, this one's aggressive. Who wins? Fucking impenetrable like object or immovable wall. Like it was very boring in my opinion to watch because it was either who's boring and who's more boring, and it just wasn't fun. So whenever this got put in, it was like, hey, more regions are able to diversify themselves in like how they play. But back then, as I just said, it was just this either really fast or really slow, and it kind of still stayed. That's what annoyed me though. It still kind of stayed, and I'm kind of hoping if we brought back this old play style, like if we brought back this old like tournament, like we host different tournaments and we face each other internationally a lot more often, we can see different play styles come out, and that's what I want to see. Is I want to see actual top tier gameplay, but not because your region plays like this and your region plays like this, so we're gonna play like this. No, I want to see actual individual play. And it's annoying because if they go back to actual international play every like month or so or every 2 months, it would be a lot more fun in my opinion. Because right now, I'm pretty sure right now there's probably gonna be another like HLTV like tournament like coming up soon. Like, there's gonna be another tournament coming soon, and it's gonna be nuts. Like, PGL just finished. There's gonna be another tournament coming soon. I can't even tell you. Calendar. So what day is it? It is February 25th. Yeah. So this one's going on for 50K. This one's also going on. Stop it. This one's also going on. So, like, the big tournaments happen, I think, every 3 months. So I Am Rio is gonna be really fun to watch. Okay, Blast Rivals is gonna be really fun to watch. I Am Atlanta is gonna be really fun to watch. I'm probably gonna go to that. Kaka is also gonna be really fun to watch. But a lot of these tournaments are happening right next to each other because they have the money. And you're probably gonna be like, where are they getting the money from? Well, one from sponsors, but mostly from betting, like not betting, but like sport betting and sport gambling. And you're probably like promoting this shit. I think I already put it in one of my videos, but I'm not promoting it. I think if you choose to gamble or do this, it's not healthy. If it becomes a problem, it's not healthy. But if you do it where it's healthy and you bet on your games, that's why you should have a maximum. There should be a limit. You can't do more than this on a singular bet. So CS:GO are able to get away with these insane prize pools, also because they have their own currency. They have their own market that they're able to put into these tournaments, and the people that we go to these tournaments, we spend hundreds of dollars to go to these tournaments for sitting. Like, RLCS does crowd almost poorly, so poorly compared to CS:GO's crowds. CS:GO crowds are so fun to listen to, but RLCS crowds are so sad. It's just like, give us those like wacky things that go boom boom. Oh my god, dude! Actually treat the fans in the crowd like they actually are a piece of the fucking tournament. We're there to watch you play the pinnacle of your gameplay, not somebody region. No, your gameplay. So when I talk about like levels, fuck. All right, I'm talking about levels again. Talking about levels now. Um, Back then, RLCS, we have rivals. You have bubble players, rivals, and then RLCS, and then all your good players kind of sat in here, but they would place each other so often, and then we'd have bubbles. Fuck, I'm losing my train of thought now. I'm 36 minutes into this. I'm losing my train of thought. Fuck. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get to my main point, and then I'll talk to my other main point that I wanted to talk to because this video is too long, and I don't really want to splice this up because I'm too lazy. I'm sorry if you're seeing this as long as I am. I'm sorry. I just like yapping. But Rocket League, okay, I want us to see more tournaments because this format doesn't allow us to have community tournaments. And I talked to my friend about this. I'm like, we need more community tournaments. Community tournaments would bring the community together. We need these tournaments to happen more often, just so we can have like it's if we just focus on the crowd, give us more international tournaments, more people will go to these tournaments. Give us more international tournaments. If you focus on the crowd and give us more international tournaments, people will go. If you make the tickets available, because I was looking at the Boston Major tickets, $200. I know that's a lot, but dude, I'm gonna pay $200 just for a plane ticket. Make it at least 100, if not a bit less. Like shit. But like, I don't get it because everything is online. We need more in-person events. We need more player interaction with the community. These things need to happen in order for Rocket League to be a great esport. And like, it pisses me off. I think I actually am gonna cut this video up now that I'm thinking about it because I can. But I also am gonna also have to splice this up again because me retard. But like right now, I think Rocket League is my least favorite to watch. I mean, in terms of okay, I talked with my friend about this. I said in terms of like watchability, I hate it, but in terms of gameplay, it's never been better. This is the best gameplay we've seen in ages. But in terms of watching it, it sucks. And I hate doing this online bullshit. I hate it. We need more in-person events. Granted, yeah, you have to spend costs in hotel fees or, playing fees. But if you're the org, you are more than capable to do this. We should be paying our orgs well. We should be paying our orgs. I remember a fucking article that came out that said we don't pay our orgs shit. That's why a lot of orgs leave. We don't have good sponsors. Orgs in fucking CSGO and that shit, they pay their orgs. Sponsors pay their orgs. Just last week, Chris Hemsworth joined 100 Thieves as a sponsor. Why aren't we sponsoring our teams? This is ridiculous. Why aren't we allowing this? These teams, this is an esport that has the potential to rival CS as we know it, but we don't do shit about it. It pisses me off. We have possibly the greatest esport on our hands, ready. It's a gold mine ready to be dug up. But we don't focus on our players. We don't focus on our community. We don't focus on our orgs. We need more community events. We need more international events. We need to fight more. And we need to have these, just, it doesn't make sense. Like, getting rid of trading. If we kept trading and we, hey, we can do, do this and keep it on the Steam. So, if we kept trading, okay, and Epic didn't buy Rocket League and it stayed on the on the Steam store, we could have had in-game trading. We could have had I don't want to condone this, gambling events. We could have had betting. We could have done these things. We could have had our own market probably. I would have loved to see a Steam market for Rocket League items. But Psyonix had to sell the rights of Rocket League over to Epic's greedy motherfuckers who don't give a shit about the game. Okay? They might say, oh, we care, but they don't. They just want to give into their golden egg and then just want to keep giving. I don't care anymore. Nobody cares in Rocket League. It's so sickening. I want Psyonix or I want Steam or Valve just to buy out Rocket League and put it back on the store and on dude, if they buy it back, I'd be so happy. Convert the users back. That's all I want. As a RLCS or as a RLCS and Rocket League enjoyer, that's all I want. You know why that's all I want? Because we would be able to get rid of the fucking cheaters again. I mean, VAC Live sucks dick, but Rocket League, we could do something about the cheater issue. We could do a lot of other shit that we wouldn't do with Epic. And I want us to go back. I want us to do everything I just said. I want us to do this. I also want to talk about some shit that it pissed me off, but I want to talk about it. But if I'm an esports organization owner or just a sponsor, I would tell the sponsor, hey, you're gonna buy a facility. We're gonna buy a facility, and you're gonna have all of your teams play in that hoe. You're gonna train them like actual people, treat it like a gym, actually coach them, treat them, and feed them. Because if you're a player, kind of like an actual pro, like NFL or soccer or other sports like hot NHL, you want to boost your players to make sure they're physically fit, so they're able to maintain their brains are okay, and at the same time they're putting in hours. If the first team to really implement this was Astralis, where they had fitness coaches and mental coaches, and they actually gave them a diet. That's what 100 Thieves are doing right now. They have chefs, they have people that train them physically, and they have therapists there in case for mental therapy. These things are what we need. If you are an organization owner, you need to put time into your players. Doesn't matter if there's a CSGO player and a Rocket League player in the same freaking facility. You are all teaching them at the same time. You are telling them, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you're kind of treating it like a 9 to 5. This is your job. If you want to go home and stream, you can go home and stream. But this is your life. You need to be putting your hours and the best of your game into this game. If you don't want to do anymore, you can leave. If you want to stream, you can leave. Like Bodo did. He was done playing Siege. He wanted to do consecration. He focused on consecration. But if you want to focus on consecration and being a pro, you can't do that. But if I were an organization owner, I'd say, hey, if you're playing your games, stream. I'm gonna give you this tag that you can use that can put up your sponsors and shit. You can stream. We'll post some streams. We'll post some of your streams on YouTube so you get some money revenue as well. These things are the simple. It's simple. It's so easy. It's not difficult. I don't know why we fail to figure this out as an organization. And we just put down these good pieces of gold and we put it in the shitter. And it pisses me off. And Rocket League isn't going to go back to being the same way it was. And I'm sad about that. But if if this were to come true, it would be the best game in the world. And the only reason why Rocket League is popular right now is solely because of Jinxie. But the fact that that's the only reason why Rocket League is popular right now is stupid to me. It pisses me off with a grain of salt. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of what I was talking about with my ideal playstyle. I was going to talk about levels earlier, but honestly, I forgot about that. Like, yes, you have your bubble player, and then you have your rival player, and then you have your pro player. That should be it. And then like I don't even remember anymore. Because I just want people to gain points, have community tournaments that actually have money in the event. I want tournaments that put money on the line for these players, that actually try and actually put hours into tournaments every single month or every single week, and they get tournament points and they get put on a ladder. I mean, granted, Blast is kind of trying to put this way. Like, look at this. They have like look. Blast is good because look, hey, look, news. We can see who's top one. You get to see who's good players, who's good players. We get to see our player stats. We have a fantasy thing. They have their sponsors. Like the fact we don't have this in Rocket League is insane to me when it's just something that is most similar to actual like gameplay, like actual soccer. This should be an actual event. We should be seeing events, not bullshit online events. If you are able to qualify through open qualifiers into rival series, and then in these rival series, you can then qualify for RLCS or like through rival series, that's where all the good players are. So I can say like tier two, in my opinion. So if you're a bubble player, I don't know, I'm in the server still. But if you are a rivals player, like you committed to rivals, you got into rival as a bubble player, all right, you should now be part of a closed system. You can no longer change your team. Well, you have a window. You can't change your team. You need to get a sponsor for a team or this yada yada yada. And then you're going to be playing in these tournaments every couple weeks or so. And then once you are in rivals, you will be playing for championship points that allow you to make it to majors and make it to RLCS that will then boost you to tier one. The fact that we okay, because in fucking CS:GO terms, what makes a team tier two versus tier one is how many events have they won or how many events have they placed in. Because past like I think Gamer Legion, underneath that, I would say tier two. And you're probably like, that's insane because these are good players on here, like Simple and Electronic. These are, but they're not good enough to continue to play with these players. These is tier six. I mean tier one. This is the tier one team right here. These are the best of the best. These 16 teams should be playing each other constantly in the grand finals and the grand and the and not in the grand finals, the grand finals, the semifinals, and the quarterfinals. But in the terms of opening up into that, rival players should be at that tournament. So it'd be 16 teams. So if, let's say, 8 out of these 16 teams go, the rest are tier 2. Tier 3 teams can't make it. That's because they're proving themselves that they can make it. And that's what I want to see. Is these teams not just being locked out? I mean, we are seeing this because you can, open qualifier into a regional. But the problem is you're not making money from it. So nobody wants to stay as a team. You're not as a team. You're not a roster. You're just a couple of players who are trying to make money, but you're not actually a roster. You don't give a shit. You don't take the game seriously. One bad thing goes and you're gone. Ego players are a constant issue in terms of Rocket League. That's why SSLs, people hate SSLs. That's why anytime you see an SSL nowadays, they're usually a content creator, and anyone underneath that is SSL, their egos are bullshit. And that's what bothers me is I want to see more tournaments where these tier 2 teams can play against these tier 1 teams. They're probably going to lose, but they can get some championship points to constantly keep doing these tournaments. Now, if you want to play in these tournaments, these high value tournaments, you're gonna have to do the lower ones, get some points, and then advance the tier two ones. And then the tier one and tier two players can shuffle it out. It really shouldn't be like regulation, which I want to see regulation, but at the same time, that'd be taking away from my point of we can't have one dignified league. It should be about having these players being able to sit here and actually focus on the game. I want to see good quality games, and I think this is the best way possible. This is it. And I think I did actually talk about how different players. Yeah, okay. I know I said this. Okay, I'm gonna cut it there. But I don't know if I did say it, but like how different players or different regions play different play style. Yeah, I did say that. But I really want to see more international events. This was almost an hour long video.